Well, hello again, everyone. I'm doing this video, as I said I would, that explains how I got into RC helicopters. I've been flying RC airplanes for years, since 2003, and building and driving RC cars, drones, the GPS type. I haven't gotten into the FPVs yet, but I'm going to. I have a lot of, as I've said in another video, I have like everything to go fly a drone right now. I have all the equipment, I just haven't done it. Boats, I've done everything. I saved helis for the very end because I knew they're tough. I haven't heard one person say, "Oh, helicopters are easy." They're not. So I decided to get into them about 2021, and like RC Copter Love, I wasn't sure if I'd like it or not, and I didn't want to spend a lot of money on something that I wasn't going to enjoy, and that you can get into helicopters and get, it gets real expensive real quick. It can get that way. So at the time it was $59, and it came with absolutely everything to fly. I bought some extra batteries. I'm sure RC Copter Love did as well. I crashed a lot with that heli, and I mean, I gotta tell you, I don't know why Blade or eSky ever quit making them, but they did, and they were a terrific introduction into helicopters. Yes, they're fixed pitch, but I think it's a good thing to just learn on a fixed pitch, just so you get the idea of what flying one is like. Yes, when you let off the controls, they do return to center. It doesn't keep going in the same attitude or anything like that, like a collective pitch helicopter does with no stabilization mode on. They still are very challenging, and they're a lot of fun. I probably had about 75 successful flights before I decided to move up. I probably had almost the same amount of crashes, and I only counted flights that I actually did not crash, and I was able to fly an entire battery through. Like with everything else, I learned how to hover first, tail in, and I progressed to the point where I didn't learn how to hover nose in, rather, with that helicopter. I figured I'd learn that later. And once I got tired, I shouldn't say tired of them, but I wanted to move on. I like RC Copter Love. I bought a Blade 230S V2. I imagine he probably had the 230S V2 or V3 version. Like him, I didn't like it, but I pulled it out of the box. It just felt cheap. I was very disappointed in it when I started. I thought it was truly an RTF. I don't know anything, and that's the reason why I don't know anything about. This is the reason why I bought it. How to set up a helicopter. That's why I decided to get the RTF version of it. And I figured, hey, it already had the radio. It's ready to go. Just take it out of the box. It does say ready to fly. Well, I started spooling it up, and I mean, it almost tipped over. I immediately cut the throttle, and I was like, okay, so now I tuned it after that. I got everything. I got the swash plate leveled, and everything was ready to go. And the spur gear, I watched it spooling it up slowly, and besides the vibrations, which come at different RPMs, it's just normal. The spur gear was just wobbly. I mean, it was just junk. And I'm thinking this, and I got it all to spool up, to where I was gonna take off, and I was in stabilization mode, and I just got too nervous. I'm like, this is just I can see what's gonna happen. So I cut the throttle, I put it back in the box, and I sold it. I'm like, this is just, I don't like it. It's junk. And I don't like to say that about Blade, because they do have a couple of helicopters that look to be very promising. One of them I do actually own. I do have a Blade Fusion 360 V3 Smart, still brand new in the box, and I've taken it out and I've gone over it, and really it's a whole different helicopter compared to that 230S V2. And the 230S V2 is supposed to be a great trainer, and I'm sure it is in a lot of respects, but there's just too much plastic and just the parts, and the parts are very expensive for it. And crashing it, it's just, I couldn't imagine, it's just going to bleed you dry. And so I said, that's just not for me. But again, I'll go over the 360 in a different, it's not perfect by any means. The 360, major problems when it comes to servos. But again, that's a video for another time. And I haven't flown it yet. So, but I started watching some John Salt videos. I found his channel. I bought his ebooks, and I saw that he had a course on how to fly. He had a 10 video course. You just follow it, and at the end you should be a pretty proficient flyer, decent, and then you just go from there and you keep progressing. I kind of followed it, but I kind of didn't, because I'm kind of an impatient person, but at the same time, I knew this was going to take a while, and I almost gave up. I'm not going to lie. I almost gave up. Because it did become where I was crashing a lot, and I had purchased, after watching his videos, because they truly were it seemed to me that the OMP M2s and M1s looked like, really right out of the box, they looked, the quality just looked incredible to me, and they truly were. They looked like right out of the box, you could fly them, they're ready to go. And I bought a used one that I found online for a really good price, and it came with the T6 transmitter, as you've seen in my videos, the two that I have. And I purchased a few more over time, but at first I was very scared. I flew it, and immediately it flew excellent. But I had it again. I had it in stability mode. And that's the only way I could really fly it. I didn't even know, to be honest. Like I didn't think it was going to be a big deal to turn off stability mode. I thought, big deal. Okay, it's not going to be that big of a difference. I was wrong. That's where everything changed. I had to, as RC Copter Love was talking about, you basically have to relearn how to fly. Because the moment, and I brought the heli in towards me, and I got it into a tail and hover. Again, I'm in stability mode at this time, and I just decided, I'm going to turn the stability mode off and give it a shot. It can't be that bad. I'll be able to hover it. My instincts will come back. Well, I probably was able to keep it together, my mind and everything together for about 7 seconds before I crashed it. So it was truly learning all over again, and I did it indoors, and I bought an M1, and I just started hovering. I started just like I did with the fixed pitch heli. I started all over again, but I was flying indoors now in a large room in my house, and there were some blade strikes and plenty of crashes in that room. Just learning to hover tail in, and it took me a long time. Again, I didn't count the crashes as flights. I only counted the batteries that I could fly from beginning to end without any crashes. And then I just stopped doing that altogether. I just wanted to get good hovering before I took it out. I had flight simulators, and I decided, I had Real Flight 9, and then 9.5 came out. I had already had it, but I just hadn't touched them. And I decided, okay, I'm going to do this, and this is how I'm going to learn. And I bought Real Flight Evolution, and I just started flying the hell out of everything on there. They have a lot of helicopters, but they have the Blade line, of course, as well, because at the time, I think Blade has changed hands now again. I don't think Horizon Hobby owns Blade anymore. But anyway, they own Real Flight. And so, of course, they're going to put the Blade helis in real flight. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to find the hardest. By the way, just real quickly, I have AccuRC 2 as well, because it has the OMP M1s and M2s. So, but I didn't have that at the time. I just had, when I first started, I was just doing Real Flight Evolution. So I found the hardest helicopter to learn how to fly on the simulator, and that's what I decided. Look, if I can fly this, then I can fly any of the helicopters on this simulator. And I can't tell you how many hours I put in on the sim. A lot of hours. I had, the only thing I could do with a collective pitch helicopter at the time, I could hover. Okay, I could hover through a battery. I could hover through several batteries, no problem. Tail in, collective pitch, stability mode off. But I had not taken it out to try anything else besides just hovering tail in. That's when I really started hammering the flight sim. So I found the hardest helicopter, and believe it or not, the hardest helicopter, the biggest piece of garbage on here in the way of stability and everything else, is, believe it or not, the Blade 230S V2. I'm not kidding, and you can see that right in front of you right now. You will here in a moment, actually. I'll just hit fly, and there you see it. I'll kind of turn it sideways here. I'll turn that down. But it's very, I mean, to make this thing fly smooth on the simulator is not easy. I couldn't fly it at all at first. I was just crashing it. And like I said, this was when I was starting to get really frustrated with flying. I was like, I'm never going to be able to actually take my real RC helicopter out, my OMP M2, and fly it. I was getting really frustrated. So I put in just extra time on this simulator. Probably a month's worth before going. And I was doing it probably daily or every other day, an hour, maybe 2 hours every other day. And it was just so hard, took so long to get that. There was that curve of being able to do turns correctly and not do them to where you were crashing. That was my problems. That was my problem, was my turning. Rudder. I wanted to do rudder turns, but that's not fun. You want to be able to do rudder with cyclic. You want to be able to add that cyclic in there. That's what it's all about. And you want to be able to fly. The entire time I was flying with stability mode off. There's no point to flying it with stability mode on, because I could do that. I could do that with a collective pitch helicopter already. Stability mode off is everything. That's really learning how to fly, because it's you completely in control of the helicopter. That's it. So it took me a long time, and I found I took it out finally, and I had a successful flight with my OMP M2, my used one, orange canopy, and I took it out, and I looked back in my archives, and I found that my first successful flight was January 31st of 2022. I'm sorry, I take that back. Of 2023, January 31st, 2023. And I was so excited. What I did is I just took it up, took it out, flew a couple of small turns with cyclic, and was able to control it, bring it in tail in, whip it around, and do tail in and land it. And I was so thrilled that I didn't crash it. But I had so much time behind this simulator. That's what gave me the confidence. It's like, look, you know how to do this on the simulator. You should be able to do this now in real life. No wind day, perfect day. Albeit it was cold because it's January, but there was no snow. And it was actually a pretty warm day, if I remember correctly. But I was so excited when I landed that thing. I mean, I was jumping up and down. I was going crazy. I was so happy because I actually accomplished what I wanted to. I had a flight where I was able to turn both directions and keep it up in the air for a little while, bring it back, all in with no stability. No stability. I was so excited. And I've just, all I've done since then is just progress from there. But I've still had a lot of crashes, and I don't count the crashes as flights. And I've had several. I can't tell you. I've had probably at least 40 crashes. And right now, currently, I have 51. And I'm still, like I said, I'm a novice, and of course I'm not flying in. I have no stability mode, and there is no panic button on this anyway. And I think it's really important if you're going to fly with these, you're going to fly yourself into mistakes, and I think it's really important to learn how to fly out of them and not rely on a panic button, which the M2, and the T6 controller don't have anyway. So I've had to learn to fly myself out of problems, and I think that's the real way to do it. So that's my story. That's where I'm at right now, and I'm just going to continue to progress. You guys have seen that I can do very mild aerobatics. I can do a backflip. I can do a delayed backflip where I can hover the helicopter and go in reverse and then flip it back. It's you really, between that and always coming back to the simulator. There's a gentleman out here, West Hobbies RC, who I really like. And again, I really like RC Copter Love and the RC Heli guy, John Salt, all of these guys. I love watching their videos and watching them just do better and better all the time. And I'm going to continue doing these videos until I can. I don't know if I'm going to get into 3D flying or not, but that's my story. But I'm just going to do one small flight because this is dedicated to RC Copter Love, because he and I both can't stand this helicopter, and as I said, on the simulator it's the hardest one to fly. And you'll just see this piece of garbage in the air. Since I know you don't have Real Flight Evolutions, so you don't have this helicopter on AccuRC2. So you'll get to see what kind of a piece of garbage this is. Just a short flight, and then I'll end the video. That's a real short flight. I'll do another one just a little bit so you'll have an idea. I'll turn the volume up. I'll be quiet. It's hard because the camera's kind of blocking me here. But you can see this thing is just not real smooth in the air. Anyway, that'll be enough. But I still do come over to it and fly, because it's not a very smooth, as I said, it's not the easiest helicopter in the world to fly, really. So you whip it around and get it into turns and bring it up and back. All this, but no, it's not a very smooth heli. Of course, I'm having a little trouble right now too, because the camera is in my face. But anyway, that's the flight. Thank you guys. Please comment. Thank you.